Welcome everyone to Anti-Politics. Oh boy, are we happy to talk about more politics? I'm gonna react to some communists and see what they have to say about this current situation. I already didn't like communists that much, but now they just keep attacking the liberals instead of trying to make any changes, so I'm pretty pissed at them. So let's see what this guy has to say. I guess we'll just get into it. I don't even remember. I just remember it being stupid, so this is a great starting point.
Dick Van Dyke recently had to dance away from a wildfire that was raging towards his Malibu home. Meanwhile, the rest of us just wrapped up another year of catastrophic flooding, record-breaking heat waves, rampant tornado outbreaks, and several major hurricanes.
Oh jeez, I love that doomerism. It's just like, oh man, there's so many things going wrong in the world, so that means that everything is terrible. Wow, that's cool, yeah. Like, just because there's like a lot of stuff on the news that's bad doesn't mean that everything is bad, but whatever. I guess he's just like actively affected by these wildfires, right?
At the same time, Trump is promising a new era of economic growth, largely fueled by slashing environmental protections, pumping the brakes on renewable energy policies, and putting domestic oil production on steroids.
We will drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill, he said, as the flames engulfed him, and he realized that civilization was no more.
Yeah, wow. The ultra-doomerism. So we will literally die. All of civilization will die in a fire because of Trump. Okay. I mean, I like protecting the environment. You know, I hate cars. Everyone knows that's about me. But this doomerism doesn't really get you anywhere, does it? It's like, nobody's gonna... Like, you have to be actively stupid to think that like, civilization will end because it's a little warmer. Like, you have to be actively insane to think that. Like, the worst case scenarios is that, like, maybe 2 billion people die, okay? Because it gets too hot in Africa or whatever. But, like, civilization will die? No. And like, Trump himself will die in a fire? No. Like, he's old, so he's definitely not dying in a fire. And even his children aren't going to die in a fire because they're in the safe part of the world, America. And, well, like, any country that isn't, like, it's already tempered, okay? Like, if it gets warmer here, it's just going to be slightly warmer. You're not going to have, like, catastrophic climate change, but whatever. This is bad. I'm sounding here like I'm denying climate change, okay? Like... Like, it is probably not good, you know, if 2 billion people die, but, like, it's in 100 years. We'll probably save them by then, honestly. Like, I think drill baby drill is probably not a great idea. Should just move on with nuclear power. That'd be the best choice. And get rid of cars, but nobody's gonna listen to me. But I'm certainly gonna listen to people who say, oh, we gotta stop all oil production and everything.
This is all despite the fact that the 2024 State of the Climate Report warns that fossil fuel usage is at an all-time high and contributing heavily to ecological collapse and leading to fires.
And that's all they say is like it's contributing heavily to what we have now, which isn't that bad, you know, like it's still extremely livable. Like, nature is still mostly fine except for in the areas where we're actively building, you know, and farming. But still, I mean, it's not the climate change at fault. It's us doing the farming. That's what we need to farm. We're not going to starve just so that nature can flourish.
Scientific data continues to show that endless economic growth and the associated rise in carbon emissions is simply unsustainable. Even free market champions like the world.
These communists are so annoying when you hear their shit. It's like, oh yeah, the liberals, they got their plan, but look at us flashing these things on screen that disprove that anything could ever be good. What does he talk about here? I guess we'll rewind. Okay, green growth not happening in high-income countries. Literally just reading the headlines. How stupid are you?
Carbon emissions is simply unsustainable. Even free market champions like the World Economic Forum are forecasting that climate change is making the dream of endless economic growth fantasy. And this is why climate...
What? It's just making the dream of economic growth fantasy? What are you talking about? Okay, what does this headline say? Climate crisis cost the world 12% in GDP for every 1 degree Celsius temperature rise, and other nature and climate stories you need to read this week. This is nothing. This is literally nothing. 12% GDP? for a huge change like one degree Celsius. It's nothing. I mean, I don't know how it goes. Like, if we go to 5 degrees, how much is that? Is it linearly? Is it exponentially? Like, if we reach 9 degrees, does that mean we have 0 GDP? No, I mean, probably not. That seems, I mean, that would be a bad prediction if that was the prediction. But like, I think like the worst case scenario is like 4 degrees in 100 years. So like normally GDP, I don't know, how much does it grow? Like 3% per year. So you got it going down like 50% in 4 years. In 100 years, so you probably still got like a growth of like 100 or 200% over those 100 years. So you're perfectly fine. It's just keeping up with inflation, I guess.
And this is why climate theorists and philosophers are calling on us to rethink our addiction to infinite growth. Now, they've started a movement that's called degrowth, and it posits that radically cutting back on economic activity can save the climate, make our lives way better, and end the economic exploitation that's devastating the global south.
Okay, so that's dumb. You suck. You are dumb. This is cancer, okay? Degrowth. Everyone knows that degrowth is a piece of shit. It is the dumbest idea to... I mean, like, okay, degrowth in theory could work. If we say, like, we remove cars and everyone takes the bus, then that would mean that the climate will be much better in the future. We have much less, like, smog and stuff, much less pollution. That would be good degrowth, in my opinion. I mean, I already don't like cars, so that's probably good. You'd have to make sacrifices. You'd have to learn how to read a bus schedule. Ooh, spooky. But, yeah, that would be good degrowth. But his description here is mind-blowingly stupid. Wait, what was that?
To infinite growth. Now, they've started a movement that's called degrowth, and it posits that radically cutting back on...
There we go, I missed that, radically. So radically cutting back on economic growth. Fuck you. How about fuck you? We're not doing that. We're not radically cutting back on economic growth, okay? That would be so fucking stupid. Yeah, why don't we just radically, like, just circumcise the entire fucking economy? That's brilliant. I love radically cutting back on everything that we do. Economic growth is everything. Like, everything we do makes money, and that's the economy, all right? I mean, unless you're a socialist, in which case you work for free, and then you also contribute very little.
On economic activity can save the climate, make our lives way better, and end the economic...
How do you figure that our life is gonna be a lot better if we cut back radically on economic growth? That's so stupid, man. How much is radically? Do we cut back 50%? Does that mean we build 50% less houses? How do you figure that we're gonna live with 50% less food? You fucking idiot. God, I hate communists so much and those stupid ideas. Degrowth, what a dumb idea. But yeah, okay. Now you know my opinions on degrowth. This is a long video. It's 20 minutes and we're 2 minutes in and he's already said so many stupid things. So let's see how much, maybe I can let him talk more, and he changed his clothes. Maybe he can talk more and I'll listen a bit more, and you know that I'm gonna tell you when he says something really stupid, but let's let the little thing slide, okay? Let's assume that he means that we'll cut back like 10% and that will save all of the environment, okay? Maybe that would be cool. That wouldn't be radical, that would just be... Okay, how much have we cut back now? Everyone acts like we're doing nothing to save the environment, but we actually did a lot to save the environment. Electric cars weren't a thing, and the only reason why electric cars are a thing now is because the government is paying for them, because they're not a technology that currently works. I mean, they're not efficient is what I meant. They will be efficient. I think we're gonna reach... I think we're gonna have a huge step forward. I think batteries are gonna get so much better that the cars don't have to carry around huge batteries in the future, and then everyone's gonna have electric cars, and I mean that's probably already gonna save the climate in my opinion. But we'll see if it happens. It might not happen, but current electric cars are... Well, they're expensive to make, all right? They'll get cheaper, surely. But they only happen because we made sacrifices. I might almost say they're radical sacrifices, because you just have to look at cars. They got super expensive in developed countries now. And why? Because of environmental regulations. Those are huge sacrifices that we're making, and they're paying off because, I mean, the climate models say, oh, it's going to be explosively bad. But, I mean, we definitely have cut back. They've set the bar so high for how much we have to cut back, but so that we don't actually appreciate how much we actually have cut back. I mean, every electric car has at least 30% less exhaustions if you calculate all the costs of creating the batteries and everything.
By taking a look at this article titled "President Joe Biden Sets New U.S. Climate Target Just Weeks Before Donald Trump Takes Office." Now, if you're reading this headline alone, you'd probably come to the conclusion Biden just enacted a new policy that will carry over after Trump takes office.
Yeah,
but if you happen
you'd
to be
think.
looking at a headline from a different source covering the exact same story, well, then you might read something like U.S. sets new Paris climate target that Trump is expected.
Yeah, God, I hope this is not a ground news sponsorship segue here. I would hate that so much. Oh, hey, look, these different articles have different things to say. Here's my sponsors. Suck my dick. I don't care about your... I should not get ahead of myself. It might not be that, okay? Even if President-elect Donald Trump follows through on the vows to reverse federal policies, the new national determined contribution reflects ongoing impacts. God, this is... I don't know what this is supposed to say. Let's see what he thinks it says.
To ignore, and then you would think that Biden's policy change from a different source covering the exact same story, well, then you might read something like U.S. sets new Paris climate target that Trump is expected to ignore.
Okay, I should have just read the headline. I guess that summed it up probably better than the whole article. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess we knew that Trump would ignore it, so that was definitely the better article there from India, I guess. I guess the other one was from America.
And then you would think that Biden's policy change won't actually do anything. But why is that? Well, it's because many media organizations prioritize clicks over clear, accurate information, focusing on sensational stories and controversies instead of substantive discussion or reducing complex voting issues to simple sound bites. Now, that article that we just talked about, well, I found it on Ground.
I fucking knew it! Holy shit, what a waste of time. Okay. Goddamn. Ground news, unbelievable. Why did I even think like, oh yeah, what does this mean for this conversation? It means nothing. It was just there to waste our time. Cool.
And Discovery is doing really important work, and I hope
Yeah,
that
very
you check them
important.
out.
Fuck off.
But for now, let's get back to the show. Capitalism needs growth.
Wait. Oh, I'm so stupid. I could have guessed from his stupid shirt. That whole part was the sponsored segment. Okay, I hope I didn't.
Market doesn't grow, we call that a crisis. And when it shrinks, we call it a recession. Now, the ruthless pursuit of growth by corporations, spurred on by market competition, leads to everything from wage cuts to price gouging. This pursuit of an iron law of growth causes what Karl Marx understands as a metabolic rift, whereby the need to grow the size of global wealth is increasingly divergent from the needs of the natural world. And even beyond...
I hate communists so much. That was so much gibberish. Holy fuck. And it's not even true. A crisis is when the economy doesn't grow. A crisis has many meanings, and that's not one that I've ever considered. Just talk to us about, okay, what does Angry Santa here have to say about this stupid term that he's made up?
Metabolic rift, whereby the need to grow the size of global wealth is increasingly divergent from the needs of the natural world.
This is so stupid. These words could be so much simpler. Let's try that one more time at least.
The need to grow the size of global wealth is increasingly divergent from the needs of the natural world.
Why do you have to say divergent? What does divergent even mean? I bet it could mean like a lot of different things, and divergent might be might be a geometric term of. Okay, well, I keep getting carried away. It's just such a stupid way of speaking. And I completely didn't hear it again, so let's try that again. Ooh, look at this great video. Anti-politics, listening to communist descriptions.
This is what Karl Marx understands as a metabolic rift, whereby the need to grow the size of global wealth is increasingly divergent from the needs of the natural world.
From the needs of nature, I guess? Natural world? What is natural world? Like... Are poor humans the natural world, or are they on the side of making money? I mean, if if we increase global wealth, then the poor people probably get some of it too. I mean, you gotta get into trickling down, and people don't like that, so who knows?
And even beyond burning fossil fuels, our economy necessarily devastates the natural world in many different ways, from mining to poisoning rivers to deforestation. Everything from our phones to our clothes to our coffee depends on someone in the global south working long hours for little pay, often in horrendous conditions. The more phones that...
I mean, they get stuff out of it too, I assume, but who knows? Child labor, well, in that case, maybe not so much. I mean, okay, so what's your hypothesis here, Mr. Wisecrack, Mr. Wise Guy? So do the rich people just have to stop making money so that the people in the global south, as you put it, can live better? Is that it? No more phones, no more fossil fuels? Is that your radical degrowth? I guess just America needs to be last. Is that it? And you're wondering why you lose the elections? Like, hey, look at all this money we have. We shouldn't have that. That should all be in Africa, okay? We didn't deserve it. We should have left it in Africa, all right? We're going to radically slash our economic output and let people in the global south do their thing. That's what we'll do.
The more time people, often children, need to spend mining minerals. Now, this drive for economic growth devastates the world, but in an uneven way, with the global north largely plundering the global south
we got
for resources. But even our solutions to these problems rely on a growth mindset, with so-called green...
As they should, because we are, in fact, set on wanting more. Why don't you ask literally anyone around you if they want to have less food, less homes, if they just want to have less of everything, if they just want to live in the shit and not have anything from the modern world. No phone, no battery, nothing. Do you think that's going to be popular? No, it wouldn't be, would it?
Growth as a best of both worlds. Now, we're seeing dozens of states across the world supposedly...
Wait, what was that ding? Is that ding just him putting anything on screen? Or is that like, oh, here's a CinemaSin. You thought green growth was possible? No.
As a best of both worlds. Now, we're seeing dozens of states across the world supposedly decoupling their economic growth from...
Okay, this is hilarious. Economics may take us to net zero all on its own. No. If we allow people to just make money, then they're gonna pollute more. That's pretty obvious. That's what we're gonna see with Trump is like, especially economics not taking us to net zero. We're gonna drill baby drill and pollute baby pollute. So that's, I guess this must be like a crazy libertarian to think this is a reasonable point to have.
Their carbon output. So, we can all have our cake and eat it too.
Wait, what are you doing? Is this guy someone who's in favor of green growth? Seems unlikely with this headline. Are you conflating libertarians with liberals, you motherfucker?
We can all have our cake and eat it too and stuff. Right? Well, not quite. A recent paper examined economies which are decoupling growth from carbon output and using the most optimistic metrics found that none of the 36 green growing economies in the world are reducing emissions fast enough to meet the Paris climate target.
And so what? That's just like a random thing that we've set. If we say, oh, I gotta lose 100 pounds, and then I lose 80 pounds, and I'm like, oh, jeez, it didn't work. I guess it's time to give up. I guess right back to McDonald's. That would be stupid. Like, this is a stupid point to make. Oh, we didn't reach this lofty goal that we've set out for ourselves. Wow, damn, I guess we better fucking radically degrow the economy now. Cool.
Now, even if the 11 most successful countries that are decoupling GDP growth from CO2 emissions were to reduce their emissions at their current rate, it would take 220 years to meet those targets. And again, this is the best case scenario, which is, of course, very much not what's happening in real life. The 2023 UNEP report revealed that...
Yeah, still, all you care about is those Paris Accords. Like, wow. I mean, okay, this is an older video, so this is... We'll get to a slightly newer video, but like, the Paris Accords are pretty much history now, I guess. So that's interesting. I mean, I think it's probably good to have lofty goals, but then if you're like, oh, we didn't reach them, I guess it's time to give the socialist revolution a try. Then no, fuck off. We're not doing that either. Thanks.
Still plan on producing more than double the amount of fossil fuels by 2030 than what is needed to meet the targets. Now, as economies grow,
Okay, so double the amount of fossil fuels by 2030. Well, that sure sounds like a lot. Yeah, double the amount. Now, is that true? Well, I mean, the thing is that we're all guilty, okay? We all used up way more energy, way more electricity that would have been allowed in order to reach those lofty Paris agreements, all right? Nobody out there is going green and no longer driving their car, except for me. I'm the only one, okay? I'm the only one who's never had a car. I am your Jesus, okay? But you guys out there, you still out there farting out CO2 every day? Disgusting. And eating meat too, like lots of meat. I eat very small amounts of meat, okay? I'm so green, you wouldn't even believe.
Fuels by 2030 than what is needed to meet the targets. Now, as economies grow, energy demands increase.
Yes.
And amidst this economic growth, even as renewable energy use rises, so too does fossil fuel use. You know, the green transition begins to look more dubious than ever. Now, some have argued
it sure does now that we're gonna drill baby drill. Wait, he made that in advance of that, so he already knows that we're gonna drill baby drill. I wonder what I guess his only thing that he said that we should do is degrowth, and that's a non-starter. So do you think he'll have anything useful to say? I think I might want to skip to the next video and see what he has to say about Musk.
You know, it's sort of like the economic and ecological version of we need good guys with guns to stop bad guys with guns.
Yeah? Oh, isn't that so smart of you? God, I fucking love how smug and retarded communists are. I need to stop saying retarded. I say retarded too much. It's a problem, okay? It offends people too much. I'm gonna try saying rejected for this video, okay? For now, alright? So this is a rejected fucking idea that you had here. What the fuck? I already forgot what I was saying. Gee.
We need good guys.
Oh yeah, good guys with guns. You stupid motherfucker. Yes, we need good guys with guns. How do you think you're gonna stop guns without good guys with guns? Like, oh, why don't we just defund the police? That'll show them. No, it won't. Like, that's what criminals would like, is for you to defund the police. Good guys with guns are, in fact, what we need. I'm now realizing that statement is still bad. Good guys with guns would normally mean, like, rednecks have the right to carry guns, and that's decidedly not what you want. People trying to go back to nature, they're sinners too, you know. They're not good for the environment. People living in cities without driving cars now, that's the best you can do for the environment, all right? Like, you're not gonna... If you're living out in nowhere, if you have a car, you need to drive back and forth to civilization to get your goods. You're already polluting way more than if you just lived in a city where the goods already are, where they're already being mass delivered to.
Guys with guns to stop bad guys with guns. But then everyone's still just shooting, though. But even if scientific progress...
Yeah, dude, people should just stop shooting guns and just, like, turn down a butt cheek until they get killed by the bad people. That's cool.
Progress was necessarily contingent on economic growth, which it's not. And even if we had the time to wait for the right miracle technology to save us, which we don't, this thinking is still...
We actually have, like, at least 100 years before climate change gets really bad, so we actually have the time.
Flawed. Just as more advanced and efficient climate technologies are associated with increased fossil fuel use, so too are they connected to exploit...
No, they're not, actually. Electric cars are specifically not linked to increased fossil fuel use, because they actually, surprisingly, use less energy than regular cars.
...in the global south. If you're still feeling really good and you want to feel bad, you can Google coltan mining right now, and it'll make you feel...
Coltan? I don't know what coltan is. Coltan is one of the world's most vital minerals, and 60% of reserves globally are found in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Okay, that's cool. I guess, is that our next lithium? Who cares?
Pretty bad. Now, finally, some point to geoengineering as a way to avoid climate catastrophe. This one I really love. One suggestion is pumping sulfates and aluminum particles into the atmosphere to bleach the sky.
But we know that it was us that scorched the sky.
I lived through a really horrible.
Yeah, that wouldn't scorch the sky, you fool. That would just reduce how much sun gets in. Which I'm not sure that works, but I mean... Wait, sulfur? What does that even do? I'm sure there's decent science behind it, and this guy's just an idiot about it. It's pretty nasty of him to just show like that nasty clip of the Matrix there. Like, oh yeah, we messed everything up.
Horrible time in the early 2000s. No, not 9/11. The trend of bleached tips, and you would get these bags at a
Okay,
store,
whatever.
And you looked really
Don't care
dumb.
about that. That's
stupid. It was
stupid.
a horrible trend, and now they want to do that to the sky. To which I.
That's so stupid. That joke is so stupid. And you're like, oh yeah, we should never engineer anything because of frosted tips. Fuck off. Wow, that was so bad. What a bad face argument. Oh yeah.
Now, rather than changing the economy to fit nature, a lot of these theories imply changing nature to fit the economy. It's similar to something that.
Yeah, literally everything we've done in human history is changing nature to fit us and the economy, you know? Like, we would... Look around you. Like, you see a city there? Yesterday I was out in the countryside and I was shocked. It's so flat and there's nothing there. No, I mean, there's some houses, but, like, there's so few houses and so little of everything. And back in the day, everything just used to be, like, forest and... There were no cities. It must have sucked so much. I'm so glad. Like, even if we, like, any dystopian future, I would take over, like, living in the Middle Ages, or even living, God, imagine having to live in ancient times where people were wearing pelts, and they were hunting saber-toothed tigers. That must have sucked so hard. I'm so glad that we've reshaped nature in our image. That's so good. I should say, like, if you're an American, you're in a suburb, like, that's the worst thing we've seen. Like, creating suburbs is just cancer. Like, you can't go anywhere without a car, and all the houses look the same. That should just give you depression. It probably does. And you're not realizing it's because of your stupid inability to shape nature to be something nice. Because you've built a hideous suburb where everyone's got a picket fence and everyone has to mow their lawn.
He said, nature under capitalism becomes purely an object for humankind. Purely a matter of utility.
And that's what nature has always been. Is that a Bitcoin? Okay, cool.
I don't know, watch some videos on fast fashion and the economic and labor conditions that make that happen.
Don't
if you
care.
still feel good after that, well, the test results indicate that you don't have a soul. Now,
wow. I mean, fast fashion is really stupid anyways. Why don't we just make sustainable clothes that don't have, like, a different style every year? Just like I don't like communist ideas like, you know, degrowth, as I mentioned. But what I hate is that I try to order clothes on Amazon, and then every time I realize, oh, these clothes that I had for 5 years, they don't make them anymore. That's cool. I love that. Why not? They're good clothes. Just keep making the same clothes. Why do you have to? Why does it always have to change? Why does fashion have to be such a piece of shit? Why don't you just keep making the clothes that I liked? And now I just buy like 5 of each every time I buy them, and then they last me for like 5 years. And then I have the same issue again, but whatever. Usually I just buy like 1 pair of shoes, and then if it fits, I buy like 4 more of them. And then that's that.
we need to break from the capitalist growth imperative, meaning that we need to radically reduce production and consumption in certain areas, and basically just rearrange our whole society. Now,
cool, I love rearranging our whole society.
This idea makes some people just furious.
Because I hate you!
Degrowth has been accused of being austerity imposed on the working classes of the world.
It would be. Like, you would be telling them to use less of everything, wouldn't you?
Genocidal, Malthusian population control scheme, and a radical communist plot to overthrow capitalism. Between you and me, one of those doesn't sound so bad. You can guess which one I'm thinking of.
Yes, it's very, very clear that you're a communist. It's very clear.
Comments below. Now, importantly, degrowth seeks to break with...
This guy's called Wisecrack, by the way, in case you didn't realize. He's been making these smug-ass videos all along, and I don't know if they were always communist, but now I'm certainly realizing they have been.
Place the primary responsibility of reducing growth and emissions on the global north due to their disproportionate rate of emissions.
Yeah, so I was right. It's just like all of America just needs to do so much better so that other countries can have it good. You're literally putting America last. This is literally why you're losing, because you're so stupid. And degrowth, I don't know, like, in theory, it's like, if you could degrowth meat and cows and cars, then you would be possibly good, you know, but then you're like, how we can't have cell phones and how we can't have, I mean, basically anything. Do you even realize how much it would cost to reduce household energy consumption? I mean, if you're American, you should get used to not using air conditioning. That's a stupid idea. You guys don't know how to build houses. That's why you need to build air conditioning, because they're so poorly built. There are 3 countries in the world that use 70% of all air conditioning. It's America, China, and Japan. And those are all countries that don't know how to build houses without requiring air conditioning, because they're just so fucking stupid. And because China thinks that bad air is bad. Oh, I'm thinking of Japan. They blow fresh air into the house constantly because they think, like, spiritually it's going to cleanse them. And it's so stupid. Okay? If you need to blow air up your ass, you're doing it wrong. You can build houses so that they're automatically cooling, okay? Like, you could just have it so that the air can blow in one side and come out the other side if it's windy, and then it's automatically cooler. I mean, if you open the windows, that is. You wouldn't want it to blow through all the time.
This makes me feel bad. To allow the space for development in the global south, well, the global north will really have to drastically reduce its consumption and emissions. Some argue that degrowth is just a fancy way to describe a forced recession. But this doesn't really make sense, because degrowth is not unplanned contraction, which is what a recession is.
Oh my god, that's so dumb of you to say. Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously the one contradiction in that statement. But otherwise, you're still actively planning to produce less, which is actively pretty similar to the... it's a recession, yes. That would be a recession. What do you expect? Yes, less is less.
Planned reduction of certain things and the expansion of others. For example, renewable energies would be...
That wouldn't really be a radical cut, you know? Like, if you're still spending about the same amount of money on everything. It's just that now you've got green energy and you've got trains instead of cars and oil. So that should not be considered degrowth, okay? Like, you're still putting in the same amount of money to get out the same stuff that you wanted, okay? That's not degrowth, that's just common sense. So that's good, I guess. Sure, it's weird that you call it radical reduction.
Alongside things like public transport infrastructure. On the other end, we could drastically reduce the production of stuff like fast fashion, or, stop making cell phones that need to be replaced every 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Please stop doing that. Why are you such a smug asshole earlier? Now you're making all the good points this late into the video when everyone will have already seen your stupid communism.
We can reduce beef production, arms manufacturing, personal...
Well, you're not going to be able to reduce beef production. People like eating meat, sadly. Actually, no. I think we're going to get to a point where fake meat is going to taste better than real meat, and then automatically we'll stop meat production. But who knows if that'll be better ecologically, because it might still be highly processed food that takes a lot of energy. We'll see, I guess.
Car.
Oh, and weapon production? Ha! Are you retarded? Are you completely rejected here? How can you... Okay, that doesn't sound right either. This is such a stupid idea. How can you say reduce weapon production? At this current time, what? This is blowing my mind so hard. How can you think we're gonna reduce weapons? Oh, we're just gonna surrender completely to Putin, is that it? Cool. I mean, we probably are, but that's bad. We should have made more weapons and sent them to Ukraine. Turns out weapons are actually pretty good. The only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun, which is a Russian, is a good guy with a gun, which is a Ukrainian. It's quite necessary, actually. You'd be a complete fool to just say, oh yeah, we'll just cut back all our weapons, and then the bad guys can just go rampant. That's so cool. Like, it turns out the weapon lobby would have been on our side all along. They would have, like, they made the weapons that we need now. They had the right idea all along.
And advertisements, which would really hurt the sort of dude whose whole personality is like, I eat burgers, shoot guns, have 8 cars, and love marketing. But more than just...
Yeah, how about you stop putting your disgusting ground news segments in here? How about you cut that back? How about degrowing that part of your fucking videos? Disgusting.
Reduction.
How many fucking Google servers had to run so you can talk about ground news for 2 fucking minutes and waste everyone's time? You hypocritical cunt.
Growth calls for a rearrangement of how we live to ensure that the working classes don't suffer from the brunt of a green transition. This is often labeled as a transition from private luxury to public luxury, you know, so everyone would be able to live like Carrie does in the HBO original series Sex in the City. You could all be having sex in the city, out of the city, on top of the city.
Wouldn't it be nice?
While the city sits in a chair in the corner.
I'm pretty sure, like, they're pretty consumerist in that show, so I don't know if that's even correct at all. Pretty sure they use fashion all the time, but who knows? I might be wrong. I haven't really seen it.
Oh, daddy's bad. So rather than using immense resources to build mansions or massive luxury apartments, which end up just lying empty,
No, they don't lie empty. What are you talking about? Like, the amount of apartments that are empty is very small. That's why we built them, because they're a good investment. Idiot.
Resources could be used to build energy-efficient public housing. This also involves replacing what David Graeber famously called bull jobs with communal labor, motivated by public good rather than private profit.
The idea of bullshit jobs is just so stupid. It's like, oh yeah, everyone is doing bullshit job. Because, like, what if your job is, like, in management, and you just have other people do all their job, you know? You sure are bullshit. Or, like, what if you're a cop? Like, that sure is a bullshit job. How about people just stop doing crimes? No. I mean, I just hate the idea of bullshit jobs. Maybe I should get over that. Maybe I should get into that at one point. Maybe it's not as insane as it seems, but, like, you say, oh, 90% of jobs are bullshit. No. Maybe the people who write books about bullshit jobs, maybe they are actually the bullshit artists, all right?
Imagine that, doing a job that was motivated by doing stuff that's good for the public and not just making profit for one.
Yeah, that would be most jobs, you know? Most jobs actually quite noticeably produce goods that are used by people, all right?
One weird guy who you get an email from once a quarter, and you know the weird guy didn't write the email. Some underpaid secretary wrote the email, and then whenever the weird guy fires a bunch of people, he's like, this was a really hard day. We're a family, but sometimes you kill your family. This massively cut down on how long that we work. Picture this with me, friends. 20-hour work.
Oh, hell yeah, we're working less, and we're having more luxury. Wow, this is so realistic. I love it. I love how you start off with having some good points, and now we're here. Oh yeah, we'll work 20-hour weeks. That's totally gonna be sustainable. Yeah, like we'll work less, we'll own less, and somehow there'll be luxury. Cool.
That part really sells me because, hot take, I think we work too damn much. It would also mean less.
That is a hot take because it is just so stupid. It's just so stupid to think that we work too much. Like, we work less and less all the time. People, when they started industrializing, they worked so many hours, and now we hardly work at all in comparison to that. And we have, like, weekends off and everything. It's crazy. People don't work that much. It just blows my mind to think that we're gonna degrow, we're gonna work less, and we're gonna have more luxury.
Employed workers and folks who have to work multiple jobs just to survive. It's not about having less stuff, but about changing our definition of abundance from individual wealth to societal health. You know, it's like the idea that maybe judging the health of our society, economy, and lives by our ability to own maybe wasn't the best idea. With less work,
God, I wish people would just stop saying the bad words if they don't want them in their videos. I hate the beeping sound so much. I didn't pay attention to what he said. How is he going to cut back on everything? That's what I want to see.
then have more time for sharing household and caring labor, not as isolated individuals, but as members of a community. And at a time where we're facing like a real
Yeah, that's real gay and cringe. I don't want to be in like a commune where everyone's taking care of everyone's children, okay? Like, please, I don't want to be around like crying children every time.
loneliness epidemic. That doesn't sound so bad. Those pushing the economics of abundance conveniently ignore the fact that the market is dependent on artificial scarcity. We see this in inflated housing prices or supermarkets that will throw away food to keep prices artificially high. But many remain enamored with the idea that we need market-led growth.
Supermarkets don't throw away goods to keep the prices high. You absolute fucking reject. It is so obvious that supermarkets throw away food because it's gross. Because people like to pick the bananas that don't have like brown stains and shit. People don't like you just have a better quality of food if you get rid of the bad food occasionally, okay? That's like most of that stuff isn't like perfectly good food. It's stuff that's about to expire. And I don't know, like there's policies in place that let homeless people get the expired food if they want to, but homeless people aren't homeless because they don't have food. It's because they're drug addicted, you know? Like you're not gonna complaining about grocery food waste isn't gonna fix any issues really. Now, you're just creating more work for the people who live at the grocery stores if you force them to take the food to the homeless people.
We're going to get the government off your back and out of your pocketbook.
Yet another recent study proposed that a degrowth agenda could help us achieve a good standard of living for all 8.5 billion people on Earth and produce science.
Yeah, and that's going to suck for everyone who's not like... For anyone listening right now, that's going to suck really hard because you're just going to take American wealth and spread it all around the world. That's all you're suggesting of doing here, okay?
Scientific advancement, all while only requiring 30% of our current global energy and resource use. But it would obviously require massive...
Okay, I guess if it only takes 30%, that would be... Wait, did you say globally? Oh, global resource use. Okay, well, I guess that would be mostly American resource use then that you'd want to cut.
30% of our current global energy and resource use. But it would obviously require massive societal change. You know, this vision is in stark contrast to both the realities of austerity and the Democrats' abundance agenda, which imagines abundance as being provided to individuals by the market. And you know, this couldn't happen through subtle reforms of the existing system. It would require moving beyond capitalism and viewing the earth not as a reservoir of resources to be exploited for profit, but as the ecological basis for our entire existence.
Yeah, that's a bunch of insane commie nonsense, all right? You're not going to be able to do that. Yeah, you're not going to get rid of capitalism, all right? The commie line is that imagining an end of capitalism is harder than imagining the end of the world, and it is... Because nobody wants to get rid of capitalism. Because we love money. We love money, all right? The amount of people who would be on board with abolishing capitalism is like the 10% people that are most far left. The Democratic Party, the normals, the fascists, all the people in the world, all the wide variety of opinions they have. I think the people who would get rid of capitalism is... A disappearing minority, all right? So you could maybe just shut up about that one already. You're not going to take my money. You're not going to take anyone's money, except for the money of your sponsors.
It requires reorienting production as a social good and not as a means to achieve profit. And this level of ambition is what makes it sound so scary to some and an...
Yeah, stupid. It makes it sound really stupid, okay? You just think, oh, people are just going to be motivated by social good. No, they're not. People have never been motivated by that. People just want to make it better for their own tribe. Everyone's tribal at heart, alright? Everyone wants like their own family or their own country or whatever to do well, and they don't want to give away all of the American wealth to fix all the problems in the rest of the world.
Overly idealistic to others. Because of course, upturning our entire economic system, you know, that could be a bit of a challenge, but more than just a
Yeah, you're pretty challenged, all right. It's so painful how smugly you say this stuff. It blows my mind.
logistical issue. The real challenge seems to be convincing people to change how we live. In the global north, political stability has often equated to our ability to consume commodities as frequently and conveniently as possible. I mean, indeed, the rising cost of some consumer goods was a decisive issue in the 2024 election.
I started using the word, the groceries, when you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that.
Yeah, Trump looked at the groceries, you know, he hated spending all that money. He couldn't afford the groceries.
Since neoliberalism kicked off in the 1970s, states in the global north have deindustrialized and shifted their production to the global south. Now, this led to a decrease in stable jobs, an increase in consumer debt, and made our lives increasingly dominated by finance capital. Now, that all doesn't...
What the hell did he just say? I don't even understand.
States in the global north have deindustrialized and shifted their production...
So we're the... What the hell is the global north? South? North? Okay, so I guess that's the Western countries, I guess. It's so confusing now. Okay, so we have deindustrialized. Is that true? I don't feel like we've deindustrialized.
...into the global south. Now, this led to a decrease in stable jobs, an increase in consumer debt, and made our lives increasingly dominated by finance.
We have a decrease in stable jobs. Is that true? That seems unlikely. I feel like people in developing countries have way less stable jobs than we do.
Now, that all doesn't sound good, so you might be thinking, well, why do we put up with this? How did we let this...
Because it's a lie. Because it's not actually worse for us. That's why. Because things have actually gotten really good for us under neoliberalism. Unless you live in a suburb and you can't do anything without a car. I mean, that would suck for me, but I don't know if you like it.
Happen. Well, I'll tell you why, friends. It's because we were flooded with new and cheap consumer goods made on the other side of the world. And we love our little treats, don't we? And we've since become, more or less addicted to that level of consumption, which then creates a hurdle to the adoption of the politics of degrowth.
Oh, so it's weird how we've actually greatly increased our standard of living, and that's bad somehow?
To overcome this difficulty, several proponents have tended towards emphasizing a sort of muted technocratic program as a third way between socialism and capitalism. They point to immediate policy prescriptions like nationalizing energy companies or investing in public transportation, which are, of course, do not get me wrong, welcome measures. But in doing so, they skirt around the revolutionary call to action, which the analysis actually demands.
What analysis? This is just you. It's just you who wants to get rid of money. You and your communist cronies. There's no one in America that supports that. That you are a disappearing minority.
Because degrowth is more...
And you are because you don't work. Because you want to work less. You are so lazy, nobody wants to listen to you.
...than just a change in production. It is a reorganization of society, and it would require the support of a full spectrum of existing social movements to be on board, rallying to radically alter how we live and stave off climate catastrophe.
Are they just like painting over that road as a way of sabotage? That's funny.
And again, I get that this sounds drastic, like something that would be a pipe dream cooked up by an over-caffeinated grad student. But at least for me and my buddy John Duncan, who wrote the script with us, degrowth is so enticing because it proposes a way to fight climate change while improving the standard of living for most of the planet's population.
What are you talking about? Nobody wants this. Nobody here is going to vote for decreasing our standard of living so that people in Africa can do better. This is unhinged. And when they get to that point, they're not gonna decrease their standard of living either so that other people can have it better.
Degrowth suggests that the power to combat global warming is in our hands, not the hands.
Yeah, it literally is, because we literally use that power every day when we watch TV, when we drive our cars. That is literally the power that we waste in order to make the climate dirty. But that's what we have to stop doing if we're gonna change that. And we're not gonna. We're gonna use reasonable ideas that don't they don't say that we have to radically cut back, okay?
While this all might sound impossible, given the current political and economic climate, we're at least glad that there's folks out there that are still hopeful enough to posit solutions that could maybe save us from ourselves. But what do you think about?
I mean, it's kind of pointless if your solution is just like revolution, baby. In fact, it's really counterproductive, because I think that this all or nothing kind of bullshit is just it's just gonna be the death of you and maybe a lot of other people, because all you're gonna do is further divide the country. You just keep crying and complaining about how liberals aren't doing enough. Meanwhile, you've allowed the fascists to win, and now you're gonna have to fight it out with them. And you're just gonna keep crying and bitching instead of actually having solutions that could actually work. And people are just gonna be more and more aggressive, and it's gonna lead to a civil war, because you couldn't have unity with the liberals, because the communists just couldn't get behind our goals, because they just had to constantly complain, alright?
Want to support the channel, get more content from us, get all of our videos early with no ads.
Oh my god, really, Nebula as well? Oh, I hate this fucking bullshit. Okay, so this video was quite long. I wanted to listen to this one real quick too.
Capitalism is over. So what comes next? Techno-feudalism. Now, if that sounds sinister, well, yeah, it should. Techno-feudalism describes an economy that is slowly regressing to...
I love this guy with his medieval videos. That's so cool. That's a cool reference right there. I guess he's called Modern History Videos or something.
Medieval times, where we're becoming serfs tilling the digital land owned by our Silicon Valley feudal lords. And the end game of this project is replacing democratic governments with privatized and non-democratic digital spaces. One tech billionaire is already ahead of the curve in making this vision a reality.
This is what victory feels like.
I mean, come on, you had to see that one coming. Who was surprised with that?
Yeah, it really is quite shocking, you know. You guys should have really gotten behind Kamala and tried to stop this uprising of fascism, but okay. And it's just him, actually, you know. I don't think that the other billionaires are working towards this sinister goal, but you got the oligarchy now that you failed to stop, so have fun with that, I guess.
Oh, and he's also using the social media platform that he owns to do hate speech. Now, it's easy to attribute this bizarre behavior.
Did you just censor out the R word? Is that the hate speech? Uh-oh.
To general billionaire megalomania. But that risks missing the point. Now, to understand, I first need to talk about feudalism, which is a pre-industrial system in which you were either born landed gentry, meaning that you owned land, or a serf, meaning that you worked the land. And because land was something you inherited, there was no way to climb the ladder from serfdom into gentry.
Which is very, very incorrect to compare this to what we got now, because like most of the oligarchs, well, a lot of them are like self-made millionaires, and you're gonna see like, oh yeah, they already started out as middle class, so they don't count. Yes, they count actually. Middle class is not that great of a starting point, okay? Like if you manage to get from middle class to billionaire, that's incredible, all right? So we definitely have the social mobility. So I mean, what I think. Like, why don't you just cut the shit, and why don't you stop making up words for things that already exist? It's called an oligarchy. It's just, you're just being ruled by the people of money. And you have this. You got Bernie Sanders saying it too, you know? He says oligarchy. He doesn't say techno-feudalism or some other rejected idea like that. You just have... Just use the words that exist, okay? And you have some social mobility, but it's not great for you unless you know how to make money, because that means you're going to be poor in the oligarchy. What's going to happen to America is not going to be good for the poor people. That's certainly true. Feudalism actually might get a bad rap because feudalism was probably better than the system which came before, which is like ancient Rome, and they had slavery. I mean, it's better to be a serf than a slave, and we are so high and mighty. We look at these pictures. Every video, every movie that you see about the medieval times, you just got like these dirty peasants, and they're working hard. people back then didn't actually work that much, you know? Like, how could they? There's not enough. They didn't have industrialization. They didn't have factories to work on. It didn't take that long to till the fields, okay? You just till them once and then you wait for the plants to grow. Like, medieval peasants didn't have it that hard, I guess. I mean, in comparison to slaves in Rome, at least. Like, they always portrayed as, like, filthy, but they had their rights, okay? They had time to wash their clothes. They did not look like this, alright? Like, you guys had a chance to prevent Elon Musk from buying the presidency, but you didn't. All you did was complain about liberals all the time, alright? So, here we are.
No bootstraps in that world. There was no market price on the land. But with economic changes...
I mean, specifically... I mean, you had mercantilism at some point, and then... Like, a lot of the people who became nobles, they fought their way to the top at some point, you know? I guess social mobility wasn't fast. You probably... I mean, a serf could probably work his way up to having, like, a son who's a lord at some point if he... No, that's probably not true. I mean, like if you win, like, a military campaign, then you're probably rewarded with, like, a knightship or whatever. So if you're, like, a really good soldier, you'd probably be good. I don't know if you... I mean, merchants probably got pretty rich, and they had a lot of power too at that time. So, I mean, like, social mobility always exists to some extent.
In the 19th century, land became a more valuable commodity on the emerging market. So, landlords kicked the serfs out and invited them to come back and exchange their labor for money, creating whatever goods were desirable on the beautiful market. Now, this marked the creation of enclosures, in which peasants were kicked off the land their family had worked for generations, fenced out of their previous homes. You know, they now worked for wages and had to pay rent. In other words, it was capitalism time. Now, while we're not moving back onto parcels of land owned by feudal lords, much of our lives is spent on...
Yeah, it is true, because, like, in feudal societies, the peasants were just part of the land, and you wouldn't be able to get rid of them because, you know, they just came with the land. You wouldn't... But then with other types of capitalism, you would get rid of the people, yeah. And if you want to build something. But I guess if the lord wants to build a castle, and the peasants that lived right there probably would have to either move or they would become his servants in the castle.
Apps and in other digital spaces that we do not own. If you do own a digital space, however, just consider signing up for our Patreon. There's a link in the description.
Wow.
We would love to take your money. Now, this often involves digital forms of enclosures. And we're creating value for the owners of these enclosures every time we read the news, catch up with friends, or order dinner. Techno-feudalism describes this cloud-based way of life where we've become serfs who live on the terrain of Silicon Valley billionaires. And much like the serfs before us, we don't really have a choice.
This is such stupid analysis. Holy shit. Oh, we don't own the land because billionaires own the websites that we use. Holy shit, dude. It's just a website. I mean, I guess you... Maybe you're just talking about yourself, because you as a content creator, I guess you are working on the land that is YouTube. But most people that aren't gonna till the digital land. Most people are still gonna have to work real jobs. You know, a lot of people are just gonna be using social media for fun, and at some point it becomes a job, but most people never will make it a job, so they never would be considered digital serfs. This is such a weird analysis.
For now, techno-feudalism suggests our preferences are no longer our own. They're manufactured by machine networks. It's underpinned by the theory that the cloud has created a feedback loop that removes...
This video is a waste of time. I was hoping that when he said capitalism is over with a picture of a picture of Elon Musk, then I thought he was gonna show about the bad things that Elon is doing, but all he is complaining about random stuff about how the phones that we own actually own us. Ah, god damn it, it's ground news again. Fuck! Okay, well, I'm sick of these videos, I guess. Alright, there's one more video I wanted to look at, and it's this. It's called Dat Dang Dat. I have nothing left to say. My mind is blowing in the wind. This statement is so stupid, it hurts. In the United States, we are in a slow, tepid civil war with the Republican Nazi Party and the Democratic collaborators. It is just you against the world, isn't it? You know that the Democrats and the Republicans, they all make up the majority, you know? And you, the communists, are probably like 10% maybe of all people. And you're in a slow, tepid civil war with the rest of us, are you now? Okay, so this guy called This Dang Dad. He is not related to the other guy, Wisecrack. Maybe the other guy was supporting Kamala more, but from his brain-rot commie videos, I wouldn't think so. But this guy certainly didn't do enough to support Kamala. Calling the Democrats Nazi collaborators. What a piece of shit.
Donald Trump is directing Elon Musk and his incel brown shirts to steal from the people and cling to illegitimate power using wealth and violence.
Okay. I don't have any objection to this statement. There's definitely incel brown shirts, and Musk and Trump certainly has illegitimate power and wealth. That's cool. I don't know if they've used enough violence yet to justify this statement, but yeah, in general it's true. And I think Elon Musk's probably the one who's in charge. If you've seen that video of Elon Musk's kid telling Trump to shut up and he's not the real president, you know who's wearing the pants in the White House, which is concerning because I would definitely prefer Trump over Musk. And that's why I'm thinking that Ukraine might get screwed in the very near future, because Musk has just whipped out his blackmail and he's forcing Trump to make peace with Putin, because I think Trump wanted to get those minerals, but Musk just wants Putin to win. So we'll see what plays out. I guess whatever happens to the Ukraine, we can see who's actually in charge. Because I think Trump would kick Putin's ass, but then Musk would suck Putin's dick. So we'll see if the ass or the dick will get sucked. You know, that's how we can tell who's really in charge. And by the time this video comes out, it might already have been revealed who's actually in charge. Guess we'll see. I mean, the latest point of affairs is that Trump had a call with Putin, but we don't know yet what happened. So yeah, I guess you people from the future might already know.
To wreck your food supply, your access to medicine, and your community's water purity.
Okay, I see that Trump and Musk might be trying to wreck those things, because so much American food has gone to waste because Musk was waging war against US aid. So food just didn't get delivered, and then the American farmers didn't get the money for that food. And that's hilarious because those stupid farmers voted for Trump, so fuck them. But yeah, it's a shame.
Your children are going to get sick, and your aging relatives will die as a direct, intentional, foreseeable result of Republican Nazi policy.
I mean, yeah, already has happened, I guess. Trump already abolished the thing that was gonna save America from COVID, the pandemic response team, and then millions of old people died because of that. So that's, I guess, already what happened. I don't know about the children though. I think the children will be all right.
I do not believe this situation will have a peaceful resolution.
Oof, now we're really into it. Wow.
I do not believe we will go back to normal. I believe the only way out is through, quickly and decisively. It's going to be okay. It's going to be different. Find your people. Join something, an org, a socialist rifle association, Food Not Bombs, the IWW, your local DSA, a reading club, a sewing circle, a hacker collective, a militant polycule, whoever you vibe with. Find a posse. Before it.
I gotta get myself a militant polycule. That sounds pretty fun. Not a commie one though. Okay, so that's your prescription for people trying to fix America is join a socialist rifle association. Well, I guess this guy's on a different wavelength than that other guy. So I guess this guy does think that good guys with guns can make a difference.
Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Decide on what your role will be in the conflict to come, what you can do to take care of your people, what you're willing to do. Acquire the tools you'll need to protect your community and train with them. Whether that's a frying pan to feed your neighbors, a broom to sweep the floor of a shelter, diapers to provide childcare, or something else.
Oh man, this is... Yeah, sure is some gay shit right here. We got... Wow, all this call to action. I can't wait to see what this guy personally is going to do.
They are complicit and profiting from this. The media will not save you. They are clout-chasing stenographers. Corporations will not save you. This is a CEO's coup, and they are our enemy. Only we can save us, and only if we devote ourselves to radical solidarity. True solidarity rooted in compassion and justice.
Democrats are the enemy. The media is the enemy. That's straight up Nazi shit when you're saying that the media is not gonna save you. And I guess Nazi shit if you say is that the media is lying. But if you're saying that cloud chasing stenographers, is that any better? And then the CEOs. I mean, corporations certainly aren't gonna like make a difference in the civil war. Yeah, I hope not. I mean, I guess it'd be interesting to see a modern civil war, and then you got the Amazon troops and the Apple troops, and they're gonna fight. I mean, I guess they probably would just fight too. I guess it wouldn't be necessary unless the commies attack Amazon, then Amazon would need troops. But I mean, I guess the corporations are already protected by the government, so they don't need to build militias. Unless it's in Russia, because
We move in concert and we leave no one behind. Not racialized and indigenous people, not trans people, not disabled people, not sex workers, not migrants, not nobody. None of us can be free until all of us are free.
Oh, this is so hilarious. How do you figure you're gonna win a war if you're gonna, like, have disabled people marching with you and sex workers? Just imagine. Or do the sex workers just like provide a buff for the people who actually do the fighting, and they just provide free sex work, and then the commies level their stats up and they fight against the Nazis. And the indigenous people, they're smoking their peace pipes, and they're not doing much, but they're gonna be part of the revolution.
We survive together or not at all. I have nothing left to say with this channel.
What?
You know what to do. Get to it. I love you, and I hope we see each other again.
How is there nothing you have left to say? How is this like the declaration of the Civil War, and then it's like, oh, this is also the end of this channel? Aren't you gonna use your considerable power as a 60k subscribers YouTube channel to guide people towards their role in this war? Why do you have nothing left to say? Why do you say nobody will be left behind, and then you leave everyone behind and just disappear off the internet? This is crazy. I hate communists so much, but they're so hilarious. Oh my god. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this great piece of anti-politics on this anti-reviews channel, you know. Let me know if you want more politics, because this was kind of fun. I actually meant to go to the gym an hour ago, and I just kept recording this video instead, so now I'm going to be fat and lazy, but whatever. At least I got the video done. Bye, everyone.